1896. 40,000 people paid to watch two trains crash head-on at full speed. Some of them died, not by accident, as part of the show. Today, we're diving into the deadliest forms of entertainment in history. Train explosions, dancing until your heart stops, sitting on poles until you fall to your death, electrocuting elephants for crowds. This isn't fiction. This was business. If you like dark history like this, subscribe now. It only gets worse. Let's start with the train crash that killed spectators. Chapter 1. Crash at Crush. Explosions for profit. There's entertainment, and then there's deliberately crashing locomotives for paying customers. Because this wasn't a one-time accident, this was a profitable business model that lasted decades. 1890s America. Trains everywhere. Old locomotives get retired constantly. What do you do with them? Scrap for parts? Boring. Or crash them together and sell tickets? William George Crush had a better idea. Smash two trains together at full speed. Charge admission, make it spectacular. September 15, 1896, near Waco, Texas. Crush creates a temporary town, literally called Crush, Texas, just for this event. Builds grandstands, sets up concessions, installs telegraph lines for journalists. He expects maybe a few thousand people. 40,000 show up. That's not a crowd, that's a city, the second largest in Texas that day. Two locomotives, engine number 999 and engine number 1001, painted bright colors, loaded with just enough fuel for the run. They start from opposite ends of a 4-mile track. Build speed. The crowd watches. Families, children, vendors selling popcorn. Everyone wants to see metal crumple. The organizers set up a safety zone 200 yards away. The crowd thought they were safe. 200 yards should be enough. It wasn't. The trains hit at 45, 50 miles per hour. Metal crushes, steam explodes, and then both boilers detonate. Nobody warned the crowd that pressurized boilers become bombs when ruptured. Metal shards shot into the crowd like bullets, huge chunks of locomotive, bolts, pieces of superheated steel, flying at hundreds of miles per hour. 2 people died instantly, photographer Ernest Darnell and another spectator. Dozens more injured, some lost eyes from flying metal. 2 people died, and then something even worse happened. The crowd moved closer. They didn't run away, they rushed toward the wreckage for souvenirs. While injured people were being treated, while bodies were being recovered, people grabbed twisted metal, pieces of locomotives, anything they could sell or keep. William Crush was immediately fired, then rehired the next day. Why? The publicity was incredible. Newspapers everywhere ran the story. The railroad's name was on every front page. And this wasn't the worst part. Not even close. Staged train crashes continued across America well into the 1930s. Despite the deaths at Crush, promoters kept doing it. Better safety measures, they claimed. People kept paying to watch destruction. The last major staged collision was 1932 in California. But at least trained spectators knew there was danger. The next entertainment convinced people they were just having fun dancing. Chapter 2. Dance Marathons. Entertainment or torture? Dancing seems harmless until you do it for 87 hours without sleep. Because dance marathons weren't competitions, they were endurance torture disguised as entertainment. 1920s America, Jazz Age. Dancing is huge. Someone turns it into a competition. Dance continuously, last couple standing wins money. At first, a few hours, maybe overnight. Then it escalated. Days, weeks, sometimes months. Homer Morehouse, 27 years old, April 1923. New York City. He danced for 87 hours straight, 3.5 days. His body shut down. He collapsed, died shortly after from malnutrition, exhaustion, heart failure. The promoter made tens of thousands of dollars. Homer got a coffin, and dance marathons got bigger. The rules were brutal. Keep moving at all times. Stop dancing? Disqualified. You got 15-minute breaks every hour. Sit, eat, bathroom, maybe sleep a few minutes. Then back to dancing for days, weeks. By the 1930s, during the Great Depression, dance marathons became massive. Why? Prize money. Desperate people needed money. Promoters exploited that. The competitions got sadistic. Derby races. Dancers ran in circles for hours. Zombie periods. Dancers stumbled around semi-conscious. Wedding ceremonies. Couples actually got married mid-marathon. Spectators loved it, paid to watch people suffer, collapse, sometimes die. At least 5 documented deaths during dance marathons. The real number? Probably much higher. People danced until their hearts gave out, until they collapsed from dehydration, until their bodies simply stopped functioning. This wasn't entertainment, this was watching people slowly kill themselves for money while eating popcorn. Several states eventually banned them as cruel and unusual, but they continued in other states until the 1940s. Promoters found loopholes, changed the rules slightly, kept making money off human suffering. And somehow, this wasn't the dumbest way people died for entertainment. Chapter 3. Pole sitting, the height of stupidity. When sitting becomes a spectator sport, society has lost its mind. Because pole sitting wasn't just weird, it was deadly, and people did it for weeks. 1924, Alvin Shipwreck Kelly climbs a flagpole in Hollywood, sits on top for 13 hours and 13 minutes. Why? Attention. It worked. Kelly becomes famous. Others copy him. Soon, pole sitting is a national craze. The concept: climb a tall pole, sit on a tiny platform at the top, stay there as long as possible. This is before TV, before internet. People's entertainment options were limited, so watching someone sit on a pole for days became legitimate entertainment. Kelly set increasingly absurd records. His longest? 49 days on a pole in Atlantic City, 1930. That's almost 7 weeks on a pole in the air. Others tried to beat him. Teenagers, adults. Some made it a career. And then people started dying. Richard Blandy, 72 years old, 1974. Wait, 1974? Yes, some people kept doing this for decades. Blandy was sitting on a water tower platform near a shopping center in Illinois. A truck accidentally crashed into the base. The tower shook. Blandy fell. 30 feet. Dead on impact. Other deaths? Weather. People fell during storms or froze from exposure. Equipment failure. Platforms collapsed. Poles broke. Medical emergencies. Heart attacks. Strokes. Falling unconscious and tumbling off. You're sitting on a tiny platform dozens of feet in the air for weeks. No safety equipment, no nets, just you and gravity. Eventually, gravity wins. But pole sitting, train crashes, and dance marathons aren't the worst. The next one involves European nobility launching live animals into the air. Chapter 4. Fox tossing, when cruelty was aristocratic. If you thought throwing animals for sport was modern brutality, wait until you hear what European nobility did for fun. Because fox tossing wasn't just cruel, it was a status symbol. The more violently you could launch animals, the more sophisticated you were. 17th and 18th century Europe, the aristocracy is bored. Hunting is too easy. Tournaments are too predictable. They need something new. Someone invents fox tossing. The concept? Pairs of people hold opposite ends of a long fabric sling. A live fox or other small animal is released into an arena. When it runs over the sling, both people yank upwards simultaneously. The animal launches 20-30 feet into the air, then crashes back down. Yes, European nobility, kings, dukes, counts, entertained themselves by yeeting terrified animals skyward. This wasn't small-scale entertainment. These were massive events. Augustus II of Poland hosted a fox-tossing competition in 1648 with 647 foxes, 533 hares, 34 badgers, and 21 wildcats. All tossed, all day, for aristocratic amusement. The goal was height and style. Could you launch the fox higher than the last pair? Could you make it flip in the air? The animals, obviously, didn't survive well. Broken bones from the fall, internal injuries from the impact, panic-induced heart attacks. Many died during the event. Others were so injured they were killed afterward. And the nobility? They kept score, awarded prizes, held tournaments across Europe. This was considered refined entertainment, elite culture, something you did at royal weddings and coronations. The most disturbing part? This continued for over 200 years. It only died out in the late 18th century when public opinion finally shifted against aristocratic animal cruelty. Not because people suddenly cared about animals, because the French Revolution made it unpopular to flaunt aristocratic excess. But at least fox tossing stayed in Europe. The next deadly trend swept through American colleges in the 1930s. Chapter 5: Goldfish Swallowing, the Stupidest Fad. College students have always done dumb things for attention, but the 1930s took it to a new level. Because goldfish swallowing wasn't just gross, it was genuinely dangerous, and it became a nationwide competition. March 1939, Harvard University. A freshman named Lothrop Withington Jr. makes a bet. He claims he can swallow a live goldfish. His classmates don't believe him, so he does it. Swallows a live goldfish in front of witnesses. This should have been a weird one-time thing. Instead, it became a national craze. Within weeks, students at other colleges are trying to beat the record. Not one goldfish, 3, 5, 10. Mata's student swallows 3. A student at Franklin and Marshall College swallows 25, then 42. The record eventually hits 300 goldfish in one sitting. 300 live goldfish down your throat while other students cheer and newspapers cover it like it's news. The dangers were real. First, choking. Live fish can get stuck in your throat. Several students nearly suffocated. Second, parasites. Goldfish carry parasites that can infect humans. Tapeworms, other intestinal parasites. Third, toxic reactions. Some goldfish are treated with chemicals. Swallowing them can cause poisoning. Universities tried to ban it. Student health offices warned against it. Didn't matter. The fad continued. Why? Because it was stupid, dangerous, and got attention. Perfect college student logic. Some students ended up hospitalized. Others developed serious infections. A few required surgical intervention to remove parasites. Animal welfare groups protested. Public health officials condemned it. Eventually, the fad died out. Not because students got smarter, because something else became trendy. But for about 2 years, American colleges competed to see who could swallow the most live fish. That's the legacy of the greatest generation's college years. But goldfish swallowing was at least done by students to themselves. The next one involved killing an elephant for cameras. Chapter 6. Electrocuting Topsy, the darkest show. The early 1900s had genuinely horrifying ideas about entertainment, and one of the worst was publicly executing an elephant with electricity while filming it for theaters. 1903, Coney Island, New York, Luna Park. Topsy, a circus elephant. She had killed 3 men over the years, including a trainer who fed her a lit cigarette. Park owners decide she's too dangerous. She needs to die. They decide to make it a public spectacle. First plan, hang her. Hang an elephant. Public outcry stops this. Second plan, feed her cyanide-laced carrots, then electrocute her, while an audience watches. This happened 1903 in New York City. January 4th, 1903, about 1,500 people gather to watch. The Edison Film Company is there, recording it for motion pictures. Topsy is fed poisoned carrots, then copper electrodes are attached to her feet. 6,600 volts surge through her body. She dies within seconds. Edison releases the film, Electrocuting an Elephant, screens it in theaters. People pay to watch an elephant die. This was part of a larger war, Thomas Edison versus George Westinghouse, fighting over AC versus DC electricity. Edison wanted to prove AC electricity was dangerous. How? By publicly electrocuting animals, dogs, cats, horses, elephants, as entertainment, as advertising, as science. They called it education. It was cruelty with an audience, and people paid for tickets. These weren't isolated incidents. They were patterns, business models, ways to profit from death and suffering. Why this happened? These weren't accidents. These were deliberate choices by people who valued profit over human life. Understanding why reveals something dark about entertainment and human nature. Why did people create these deadly spectacles? First, no safety regulations. Before the mid-20th century, event safety laws barely existed. Promoters could do almost anything. Second, desperation. During the Great Depression, people did extreme things for money. Dance until you collapse? Sure, if it feeds your family. Third, morbid curiosity. Humans have always been fascinated by death and danger. Public executions were entertainment for millennia. Fourth, limited alternatives. Before TV, internet, movies, entertainment options were scarce. A train crash was the most exciting thing happening that week. And fifth, promoters didn't care. They saw dollar signs, not human lives. Homer Morehouse danced himself to death. Tragedy for his family. Publicity for the promoter. Spectators died at train crashes? Unfortunate, but the newspapers covered it everywhere. These events ended because societies eventually decided human life was worth more than spectacle. Safety regulations emerged. Labor laws protected workers. Public opinion shifted. Animal cruelty laws protected elephants. We still love dangerous entertainment, extreme sports, horror movies, action films. But now, professionals do the dangerous stuff, with safety equipment, with regulations, with insurance. When you watch a train crash in a movie, nobody actually dies. When you watch dancing competitions, contestants aren't dying from exhaustion. CGI replaces actual risk. But here's the uncomfortable question, the uncomfortable truth. We like to think we've evolved, that we're better than our ancestors. But are we? Or have we just changed what we watch? Think about it. We don't watch train crashes anymore. We watch dash cam compilation videos, car crashes, plane crashes, fails. We don't watch dance marathons. We watch reality TV where people compete under extreme conditions for weeks, sleep-deprived, starving, breaking down emotionally. We don't electrocute elephants, But we watch nature documentaries where animals die, we watch bullfights, we watch videos of dangerous stunts. The medium changed, the impulse didn't. We still pay to watch people in danger. We still consume content where people suffer. We just pretend it's different because it's voluntary or edited or consensual. But deep down, we're still the crowd at Crush, Texas, watching the collision, waiting for the explosion, hoping nobody dies, but kind of wanting to see what happens if they do. So that's deadly entertainment, when fun could literally kill you. Train crashes that exploded into crowds, dance marathons where people danced to death, pole sitting where people fell to their deaths, aristocrats launching terrified foxes into the air, college students swallowing live fish, elephants electrocuted for public amusement. These weren't freak accidents, these were business models. Promoters got rich, spectators got thrills, participants died. It's a reminder that entertainment doesn't have to be dangerous to be exciting, and that safety regulations exist because people died when they didn't. So here's my question for you. Be honest, would you watch a train crash like this if it happened today? Or are we just pretending we've changed? Drop your answer in the comments, because I guarantee half of you would click that video. See you next time, where hopefully we discuss entertainment that doesn't require body counts.